Good morning. Um, so today is Wednesday, November 6th. Say bright and early, but it's not actually that bright, so just early. Um, anyway, so I voted yesterday, you know. Regardless of, if I'm putting mentally aside the whole situation, right, we're going through politically, or how big this election is, or all of those sort of things, right? For me, I think it was a really big moment because not only was I able to have some kind of document or whatever to kind of represent, like, oh hey, this is what I think we should do as a nation, right? I had my small say in that, but I think what's generally more, I suppose, more impressive is just it's just using this legal right that I have, for the first time, and it's crazy. And I know that Kentucky's a red state, so our senators and House of Representatives, also pretty much all Republican, except for like maybe one dude who's a Democrat. Good on you, sir. And I don't think he presides over my congressional district anyway. So, but whatever. I think he actually does it over the Richmond area. Funnily enough, I think Richmond's in that area that he does. So, if me and my family was to move somewhere there, we'd have that be in our favor at least. Anyway, nonetheless, I think this is definitely really cool. It's a big moment for me. I feel, proud that, I have this right, and, however small it, one person's vote really is, at least it's there, right? At least, it matters. At least it's counted to something. And I know this morning I woke up to a bunch of emails from the New York Times saying, like, talking about like how Trump was winning, or that he'd won or whatever. And I don't know what the official election results are just yet, so I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. He might have. And I'm not saying that because I doubt it. I'm saying it just because I learned, I think it was either yesterday or literally the day before that, that, when counting the votes, right, it seems as though historically, and I forget it's for how long, but for a while now, that Republicans tend to vote in on election day itself, and although not all Democrats will tend to do the mail-in ballot, right, or some kind of online form, maybe. I don't remember. I don't know if online voting is actually a thing or not, but regardless, the predominant method being mail, right, and that people will count the votes of election day first, which will probably make it seem as though the Republicans won. I mean, maybe they did. And you know what? This is a democracy, so if Trump wins, he wins, right? I accept that. I'm not gonna, I'm not like him and his cronies. I'm not gonna deny the election. If he wins fair and square, he wins, right? I accept that, Harris lost, and we'll move on, and we'll decide what to do from there. But But yes, like I said, or like I was saying, it makes it look. I've got a bunch of things talking about like, oh, how Trump was winning. And like I said again, right? He might, but we don't have enough information to really decide. I'm gonna go across the street here real quick here. So they might find a lot of votes for Harris. I don't know if those will be enough to, win her the election. I don't know how she fared with a lot of the swing states. Although I was seeing some stuff about how Trump got it with some of the swing states, although then again, right, I don't know, because, right, it's not been officially released. And, I'm trying to remember when Inauguration Day is. Isn't that like, I can't remember. Well, I know they get sworn in office, or they start their term officially, like what, January 1st or 3rd or something? But, something like that, I think, although I could be wrong. But it is crazy to think back and remember that, hey, 4 years ago, I actually watched the live stream of President Joe Biden being sworn in office, right? And it wasn't actually like, trying to be like, ooh, it's just like fun and exciting or whatever. But it was still cool to see it, an actual example, right? Because I think one thing, I feel like a lot of people deal with, perhaps in terms of thinking about like history, is just the fact that oftentimes it just feels like, it doesn't really feel real like this, right? You're just reading stuff from a book, you're talking about theories, so it feels like, it often feels like, for a lot of people, maybe not everyone, right? And I'm not saying that it feels that way with everything from history, right? Some movements, some actions, they can be felt very personally and very real for a lot of people. But I feel like, generally speaking, right, that's kind of the case of it doesn't really feel like quite real, or it's just like, oh yeah, that stuff happens, but like it's one thing to just think it, and another thing to actually like see it with your own eyes. I mean, I wasn't there physically, obviously. I would have had no way of getting to DC and back, but even just a live stream, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I think it'd be cooler if I was actually in person, but I mean, let's be real here, probably not gonna happen. But nonetheless, I think this, and I suppose the last election cycle too, and I'm probably the presidential one here, really big for me, because this is when I'm really starting to feel like I really am participating in our democracy, right? I'm no longer a kid, right? Just learning about interesting stuff in a book. And I mean, by all means, right? I like learning a lot of those things. Right? It was really cool, really interesting. And I think some stuff that I learned in my AP US history class in 11th grade, I think that helped me to be more aware about what goes on in the world a little bit. Not perfectly, but a little bit more of our past as a nation. On top of that, I also had a U.S. elections class during Berea Bridge, which was the summer program they had earlier this year. Which, oh right, yeah, I meant to get some videos back. Yeah, I need to dedicate a specific time or something to talking about that. And honestly, I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to, remember, since it's been like, at least a couple of months, right? It's November and it was like a June, July thing. So anyway, but yeah, like I was just saying, big occasion for me here. It's really important, regardless of who wins, I mean, at the end of the day, I know I'm gonna probably look back on this and say, well, I don't know how much my vote actually counted for anything, but I'm still glad I participated, and that's what matters, right? That I took the effort to do that. And who knows, I might, join some kind of advocacy moves or something, maybe, we'll see. I know I'm already doing a few things here at the college, so right, I don't want to bear myself out too much. That I'm trying to do my YouTube channel here, but I might. So we'll just have to see. But anyway, so I got here dining. It's actually been a little, not like terribly windy this morning, but it's like a little breezy. But it feels nice. It feels nice. The sky's